is to provide social workers at every school, because we believe that they're a necessity, they're an essential service, not an add-on. And we asked repeatedly to get information from our budget team, and it took a lot of work to get some really basic information. And we were surprised at the end of one meeting when we realized that there was a budget surplus that nobody had told us about. And it was over $1 million. So it's not uncommon for board members to ask questions of central office and not get answers after asking repeatedly, especially around budget. And thankfully, we asked those questions and we were able to get money that then ended up funding more social workers for our schools. And so, if it doesn't, I believe that this board has been enabling our district to just keep kicking the can down the road. And so if we're gonna have tough conversations, yeah, let's have them. And I won't be here to continue them, but school sites are having these tough conversations right now. They're gonna have tough conversations about whether they cut off an arm or cut off a leg in terms of getting a social worker or a literacy specialist or a paraeducator. And if we're not even having those conversations here, when have we ever had a conversation about that here on the board? We haven't in the last 3 years I've been here. So I can't in good conscience say it is fiscally responsible to just ignore that conversation and then say we're okay with cutting people who I know what they do in schools and I know that they're essential. I don't need a report to know that they are needed. And in some cases, they ensure that students are safe. When it comes to kids having emotional issues or needing extra support, those are the ones they're the folks that are there. So either way, I think we need to commit to getting more resources, but it's a false, I don't know what the word is. It's like a false argument to say that there's only one solution and that solution requires us to cut the people that are most essential and also the least expensive in our schools. Thank you for the additional time.
Okay, lastly, we'll hear from Student Delegate Lamb.
Thank you. And I just wanted to sort of address Commissioner Alexander's comment. I don't think that we would have any trouble trying to identify that 3.8 million. But the question I guess we have to ask ourselves right now is if we can do it in time. And what I'm hearing from staff is that it's going to be a scramble. And what if we can't? If we can't, we're really seriously in a lot of trouble and we're going to lose a lot of the autonomy to make bigger decisions down the road because we're not going to make it in time for this interim report. And so I hate saying it because it sounds like deja vu. It sounds like I keep repeating myself. I feel like I'm back in December because maybe the only way that we can kind of move forward with this while also trying to preserve these paraeducators who are super crucial to our schools and our students is to commit to looking at the directors and managers after voting yes on this resolution tonight, because technically we could identify that amount, that 3.8, and rescind those layoff notices and still save those paraeducators while also making sure that we don't get taken over by the state. That's really all I have to add.
I'm just noting the time too. It's down to the.
We're just getting started.
I know.
I just want to also, Nate, I am fully committed. If my colleagues, I do hope you will support this tonight, as hard and difficult and painful this is, because the alternative is that there is going to be high risk with the state. And I'm not trying to be draconian or scare tactic. It's really before us. The other piece too is if we want to talk about hard conversations is that we're in our 7th year, probably likely going into our 8th year of declining enrollment with a portfolio of schools that is really beyond our means. And that is really a crux of the challenges and difficulties we have. And absolutely, we should be examining administration. I am also disappointed, we have not accelerated the process that I think we've called for. And at the same time, there are going to be some really difficult choices. And like I said earlier, my fear is that we keep stripping away to where then, we're so bare bones that what kind of additional kind of, offerings, enhancements that we are offering to our students in their experience, not only in the classrooms, but their school communities.
I do want to make a quick comment since we're here around this idea of it being high risk, this idea of us seeking funds from other partners, of a district that's scrambling to meet the needs and meet the demands set by the state. But I think I want to throw out there that maybe that is what it's going to take to support the people who we're all saying we want to support, who we want to prioritize over the highly paid staff that for my entire time being on this board, we've talked about. Maybe it is going to mean getting down to the wire to make that decision. We had all this time to do it, and this is finally going to be the action that makes it happen. I hear this often. We heard it in December, we're here now, and the notices that came out a month and a half ago have already done damage. So this hope that we'll get there and we'll meet the 3 million or whatever the number is not one that many have for our district. And I can guarantee that some folks are already deciding to leave SWSC because of the experiences they're having through these notices.
Just real quick, yeah, I appreciate that, President Lopez, and I also just wanted to appreciate Commissioner Lamb and Commissioner Bogus at both, where it sounds like we may be landing on different sides of this, but I think that I really, I appreciate the dialogue, and I also really respect the approach to fiscal responsibility. I think there's a deep commitment to that, and I think these decision points are tough, but I just think I just want to appreciate all of my colleagues and the superintendent again, and Deputy Superintendent Lee, and for the just the hard work on this, and just recognizing that I think we are all trying to get to the same place, and we may have slightly different tactics, but I think I have hope that as we move forward, we're going to get there. So just I wanted to express that gratitude.
I guess I also want to come back to one of the comments that was made in public comment. We have employees that are not getting paid the right amount. And we approved like an expansion of a contract. And I remember it was millions of dollars, and there was like no discussion about it. And I want to remember how much money extra did we spend on the Empower contract when we voted to kind of expand that contract? I remember was it more than 3 million?
Commissioner, I believe the action that you are referring to was a contract amendment of, and my colleagues might need to help me remember this, but I believe it was for $2.6 million.
Okay, so I guess that's for me is just something that really, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I know it's important for us to upgrade our systems, and it's a different pots of money that we're talking about, but because we're talking about ongoing expenses, right, for staff, which is different than investments like this. But we find millions of dollars for some things, and then when it comes to para educators or folks who are doing like really hard work, but they're not at the top of the pay scale, that's the stuff that really sits with me, and it tells me that we're, and that's, I guess, what drives my ultimate decisions. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to end this discussion. And I do appreciate the public, my colleagues, our staff, um, for supporting this dialogue. Let's begin with the first item. Roll call vote on the motion for the resolution to decrease the number of certificated employees due to a reduction in particular kinds of services. This is item F3.
Student Delegate Lamb,
Yes.
Student Delegate Liang, Commissioner Alexander,
This is F2 or F3?
three.
F. That's what I was going to say. It's F2, right? Okay, yes.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
and President Lopez.
Yes. And just to note, Student Delegate Liang is no longer at this meeting. She was excused earlier. Roll call vote on the motion for the resolution establishing the order of seniority for certificated employees with the date of service.
Student Delegate Lamb,
Yes.
Student Delegate Liang, Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
and President Lopez.
Yes,
Six ayes, 5 ayes, 6 ayes.
that was 6 ayes, correct?
Yes, 6 ayes.
Thank you. Roll call vote on resolution to decrease the number of administrative employees due to a reduction in particular kinds of services.
Student Delegate Lamb,
Yes.
Student Delegate Liang, Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
and President Lopez.
Yes.
6 ayes.
And last item, under section F, resolution to decrease the number of paraeducators due to lack of work or lack of funds. Roll call vote.
Student Delegate Lamb,
Yes.
Student Delegate Liang, Commissioner Alexander,
No.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
No.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
No.
President Lopez.
No.
Fails with 4 nays.
Thank you. Before I continue, I want to call a vote to extend the meeting past 10 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Student Delegate Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
and President Lopez.
Yes.
Meeting is extended.
Thank you. And at this time, I'm going to excuse Student Delegate Lamb. Please rest. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, if you're following our agenda, we are on section G. This item was heard at the beginning of the meeting. We are now in section H, introduction of proposals and assignment to committee. Item 1, public and board comment on proposals. Item 2, board policy 6170.1, transitional kindergarten. Can we check if there are any public speakers to the resolution? There will be a total of 5 minutes for this item.
Buenas noches. Por favor, levante su mano si desea añadir un comentario público. 舉例針對呢個題目發表意見嘅話，請而家舉手。Thank you。
Please raise your hand if you would like to give public comment on this item. Seeing no hands raised at this time.
Thank you for checking. And as a reminder to the public and to the board, these items are for first reading. So we normally don't hear or have discussion. If I do not hear otherwise from legal counsel, I refer this item to the Rules Committee. Item 3, Board Policy 0420.42, Charter School Renewal. Can we check for public comments? I will allow up to 5 minutes on this item.
If you care to speak to this item, please raise your hand.
Buenas noches, por favor levante su mano si desea añadir un comentario público.
舉例針對呢項題目發表意見嘅話，請而家舉手，總共有5分鐘嘅。Thank you。
Seeing no public comment at this time.
Okay. This item will be referred to the Rules Committee. Item 4, 222-22 SP1, Resolution of the San Francisco Board of Education recognizing Juneteenth, Independence Day, and declaring June 19th, 2022, and June 19th of each year thereafter as a local holiday. Can we check for any public speakers?
Seeing no public comment at this time.
Just wanted to note that is my birthday. If I don't hear otherwise from legal counsel, I refer this item to the Buildings, Grounds, and Services Committee.
President Lopez, actually, this should go not to Buildings and Grounds, but should go to the Budget Committee.
Budget, okay, thank you for correcting. And lastly, item 5 under section H, Superintendent's proposal in support of naming the gym at Claire Lilienthal after Karen D. Hadley Gymnasium. Can we check for public comment?
Yes, seeing one comment.
Me parece que hay un comentario.
Yes.
舉例針對呢項發表意見嘅話，請而家舉手。Thank you。
Danielle Anderson. Danielle?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Hi, my name is Danielle Anderson. I'm currently a teacher at Francisco Middle School where I've taught for the last 35 years. I wrote this resolution to name the Claire Lilienthal Gym after Karen Hadley. She was my colleague, she was my own children's teacher, and she was my best friend. You can read the resolution to understand this wonderful educator and coach. She built the physical education and the athletic program at Lilienthal. She was instrumental in getting the gym built. Karen Hadley was the heart and soul of Claire Lilienthal School. Her contributions to this district need to be recognized in this way. You can see all of her accomplishments in the resolution. She has had a lasting impact on thousands of students, their families. She mentored countless teachers in this district. If this had been a non-COVID meeting, there would have been hundreds of former students and families here to speak on her behalf. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Mary?
Hi, my name is Mary Lavallee. I'm surprised I'm still up for this meeting. So glad to see everyone here. I just want to say this meeting has been very exhilarating, but I want to say for Karen Hadley, she did our unity dance for the K-8 middle school for years, and that's where I met her. And I love her dearly, and I know that everyone else that's out there that is listening and that knows her will agree that gymnasium definitely needs to be named after her. Thank you very much for all of your hard work.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on this item.
Great. Thank you for that. If I don't hear otherwise from legal counsel, I refer this item to the Buildings, Grounds, and Services Committee. Okay. Section I, Board Members' Reports. Item 1, report from standing committees. Let's begin with the Augmented Curriculum and Program Committee held on Monday, February 14th. Chair Sanchez.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. There's 2 informational items, one in support of basically an status update on in support of reclaiming the American Indian Alaskan Native narrative. Curriculum and Instruction Department gave wonderful report back on the items that pertain to their work. Some of it's going swimmingly and some has yet to get off the ground. I urge people to go back on board docs and look at the presentation. The second item was around instructional coherence, which essentially is an interdepartmental effort to provide a well-articulated set of expectations for student learning for all students, a clearly defined plan for achieving results, and then the need for a systems approach. So that's an ongoing effort by our staff.
And Commissioner Sanchez, you will be reporting on our Buildings and Grounds Committee as the interim chair for the meeting that was held yesterday at 5 p.m.
Sure. Also, just informational items. There were 3. One on status update on the Shirley Chisholm Village, which is the educator housing that's underway. I think, yes, educators should be moving in by 2024. Groundbreaking by the end of this calendar year. So it's super exciting to provide 134 educator units. It's awesome. Financing's coming through. It's great. The second item was a status update on the implementation of the SFUSD 2016 General Obligation Bond Program. And then we had the presentation from the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee on recommendations to improve transparency and bond program reporting. And Helen Shu, who's the chair of that committee, presented lots of recommendations for enhancing transparency, as well as working on the website to make improvements. Also urge the public to go on board docs to look at those presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 2 under section I, report from board delegates to membership organizations from NSBA, CSBA, or CGCS. Seeing none, all other reports by board members. Seeing none, and last item 4, calendar of committee meetings. Between now and our next regular board meeting, which is Tuesday, March 8th, there will be a budget and business services on Wednesday, tomorrow at 5 p.m. And there will be a rules, policy, and legislation meeting on Monday, March 7th at 5 p.m. Item J, section J, other informational items. Item 1, evaluation report from SFUSD's Research Planning and Assessment Division on implementation and impact of SFUSD Summer 21 programs. Posted on the agenda is the evaluation report from SFUSD's Research and Planning Assessment Division. Item 2, our quarterly report on Williams complaints. Posted on the agenda is the quarterly report. Section K, closed session. At this time, before the board goes into closed session, I call for any speakers to the closed session items listed in the agenda. There will be a total of 5 minutes.
Buenas noches. Por favor, levante su mano si desea añadir un último comentario público. Gracias.
Rồi xin tới 閉門會議發表意見嘅話，請舉手。Thank you。
President Lopez, do we need to take public comment for item J, other informational items? Okay, just confirming. Thank you. If you care to give public comment on any of the closed session items, please raise your hand. Can that be repeated in Spanish and Chinese, please?
Buenas noches, por favor levante su mano si desea añadir un comentario público con relación a la Junta a puertas cerradas. Gracias.
嗰類新嘅閉門會議發表意見嘅話，請舉手。總共會有5分鐘嘅。Thank you。
Seeing no public comment at this time.
Okay, the board will now go into closed session. Thus, I call a recess of the regular meeting. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're under section L, reconvene to open session. Item 1, vote on student expulsion matters. I move to expel one middle school student, matter number 2021-2022- number 13 from the district for 2/22/2022 through 2/21/2023, and to suspend enforcement of the expulsion beginning 2/22/2022. Can I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. Roll call, Ms. Lenoff.
Student delegates in here. Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
and President Lopez.
Let's make sure we're recording.
You may want to do that again. Do the vote again.
We'll vote it.
Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogus,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins.
Yes.
Vice President Lamb,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
And President Lopez.
Yes.
That's 6 ayes.
And for the record, that was a vote on student expulsion matter. Item 2 under section L, reconvene to open session, is report from closed session. On one matter of anticipated litigation, the board gave direction to the general counsel. And lastly, section M, adjournment. This meeting is finally adjourned.
Thank you.